Hello traders, once again this is Alfred from binaryoptionstutor.com. I'm back with another little video on the topic of how to use volatility and specifically our QVS volatility indicator on our site. It's an online indicator available at binaryoptionstutor.com. Some guys are getting oriented to it, and we added something new to this indicator, and I wanted to do a quick video and just talk about that, as well as talk a little bit about mean reversion. Let's look at some uses to what we recently added to the indicator. What we've added, you can see over here on this side and up here with our color code, when a pair when the underlying market is open relative to a pair, and this is all on our interpretation, you're going to see blue, and it's going to let you know that that market is open. When that market's closed, you'll obviously see this color here. I had to make the screen caps because, all of this is time constraint. But when the market's closed, you're going to see the market just grayed out there. When the market is about to close on that hour, usually like a half hour mark for the London session, over on this side, the pairs that are involved in that, they're going to turn yellow. And let's go through and show some examples here. In this screen cap here, we've got all of the Aussie pairs open. Obviously Australia, New Zealand, Wellington, New Zealand, they were open at that time, but they were about to close because this is the final hour. Let's fast forward a little bit in time. Okay, now we're at the start of the London session. You can see pairs. All of these pairs also, by the way, will correlate. In general, they will correlate. You see the Euro USD, you see Euro JAP, you see GBP USD, GBP JAP, you see Euro GBP. There are all of these pairs open. You see we're just entering into the hot zone over there when London opens, and all of these pairs, these are all sterling or cable pound related pairs, and these are euro related pairs. They're all positively correlated. Let's fast forward a little more. Okay, now this is, you can see we've passed through the London hot zone, which is there. US hot zone, we've passed through there, all denoted in red. But also you can see that all of these markets are open now while the Aussie markets are closed. It's at night over there. You can see we're in the final hour on the London markets. We still have the US markets open, and you'll notice during this hot zone here, all of these markets would have been open, and even now this is the final time period where all of these markets are open at once. Now I want to pop up a chart here and talk just a second about mean reversion. Look at what's happening here. We've got Euro USD in yellow here, and this market is finna close. London's finna close now. Now let's look at this chart over here. Here's the Euro USD. There's central pivot, and we can see the market just pushing down. All of these markets are open, pushing down. All of these markets are open. Where I've dropped this line here, this is the point where our London market closes. Okay, now that the London market is closed, in fact, really the London market closed just a skosh earlier, but we're gonna mark it with the start of the hour. London market's gone. The move to the downside starting to dry up, and we start to see that reversion to the mean. In this case, that mean, once again, is that center of the universe, that central pivot area. So as you can see, these closings on the QVS volatility indicator, you've got the opportunity to sometimes just use your noggin and think about how you can exploit the fact that you know certain markets are closing, and how you can use that along with just the basic theory of mean reversion relative to price, also relative to volatility, because you can really see that as the market closed, all of a sudden we started to get a lot of chop, and the market kind of, not directionally, but just as far as volatility itself, kind of dried up for a while there, and then we start with price actually reverting back up into the opposite direction. So that's a good time to do a mean reversion trade. And once the market's closed, sometimes that whatever aggressive move you've seen on that day starts to dry up, because half of the pair, the more underlying guys that were trading that currency, they're no longer around. This is something that's going to happen on a daily basis, and something that with a little thought you can bring into your trading idea. That's really, I believe, all that I had to cover on today. Oh, let me show you one more thing very briefly. This isn't a snappy, this is just on the site, and right here you can see the market's really pretty quiet, because at the time, I haven't refreshed this, but you can see the markets are getting pretty quiet. Not a lot going on some of these pairs, and there's nothing really open over here but the Australian markets. Aussie land and New Zealand, they're open, and there's just a lot of volatility flushed out of the market. Maybe that's a good time to consider doing, if you can spot some jumps outside of volatility, using something like the green arrow strategy, or whatever you're using to do a counter trend trade. Maybe this would be a better time frame to do trading like that. You don't want the market too tight. You want a little swing, but you don't want the market so wild that it's subject to have continuation in the trend. That's all I'm getting at there. Anyway, that's just a little update on our volatility indicator, a little bit about using mean reversion, combining it just with time itself and when the markets, because these are things that are going to happen repeatedly every day. The market's going to close, and putting together some trade ideas. See you guys on the next video. If you want to use this indicator, it is online at our site. I'll put a link in this video. Once again, this is Alfred for BinaryOptionsTutor.com.